Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 483 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you for being here, mainly because the more of us there are that are working on being the best version of ourselves, the better the world gets. I mean, that's one way to do our part in changing the world, by being the best version of us possible. You and me being here, it shows we're trying, and I love that about us. So let's keep it up. So be sure to subscribe by following the show so that it pops up on your phone anytime a new episode drops, which is twice a week. Also, give me a 5-star review so that it pushes the podcast into the awareness of more people. We're changing the world one person at a time, you and me. All right, so I get these little hints and pushes pretty much every day, a lot of times, several times a day, and I believe it's the universe telling me, hey, this is something valuable, so listen or pay attention. Maybe someone needs to hear this today. Now, it may come from a quote someone sends me, or a podcast my husband Eric sends me. He sends me those a lot, which I love. Or maybe it's a video that I watched on social media. And a lot of times I feel like it was something just that I needed to hear. But there are other times where I feel like it's something maybe someone that listens to my podcast needs to hear, and I'm just the vehicle for that breakthrough. So I mean, you're not going to hear every episode and say, man, that changed my life today. But if you do hear that one thing in that one episode that forced you to think or inspired you to take action, well, then it's worth it, right? And a lot of times I don't know the difference, whether it's for you or for me, and that's okay, because I believe, as does one of my favorite mentors, Tony Robbins, he believes this too, that we should always be in constant and never-ending improvement. And I want to acknowledge you as being the same, because that's what drives you to this message I put out. I know it does. Love of growth and self-improvement and being the best version of you. So I'm glad you're here. And now, having said that, I read a quote this week that hit me. It's kind of powerful. And I thought, oh, that's for me. And then I thought, no, that's for everyone. The quote was this: I would rather adjust my life to your absence than adjust my boundaries to accommodate your disrespect. I literally said, whoa, out loud when I read it. For anyone who's had to walk away from someone, or maybe someone walked away from you, the temptation to lower your standards or go back on something you believe, or to accept less than you deserve, to sort of hang on to that relationship or to get that relationship back, that's just your innate craving for comfort that makes the temptation seem enticing. But when you think past the sale, so to speak, to what you have to tolerate or allow in order to keep that relationship, you and I both know in the long run it won't be worth it. I mean, how much of yourself do you have to give before you say, enough? Now, only you know the answer, but I promise you this: you holding true to who you are and the values you have may be uncomfortable for the moment, but long term, you'll look back and recognize that as a pivotal decision in the trajectory of your life and your happiness. Now, this doesn't mean you don't forgive. Forgiveness is something we all at any given point in our life need. No one gets to go through life without needing to forgive and also needing to be forgiven. That's the human condition. It's part of life. No one's immune. In this day and age of cancel culture, I mean, we are so hard on each other. We seem to forget that on any given day, I could be kind or even a little unkind on any given day. You could be kind or maybe a little unkind. Every one of us has both light and dark in our human nature. If we're being honest and real, we know that we're not perfect either. We all have thoughts that aren't great. We've all said things we wish we hadn't, done things we wish we'd done differently. So why do we expect for everyone else to be perfect? I mean, our moms, they're human. Our partners, they're human. Our friends, they're human. Forgiveness feels as good to give as it does to get. We will at some point or another be on both sides of forgiveness. Remembering that might make us a little more prone to allow for the imperfections of other people. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, but haven't you just contradicted yourself in the same episode? Like in one moment you say to walk away rather than be disrespected, but in the next moment you say to forgive. So how do I know the difference? It's going to be a little confusing, right? To that I say, deep in your gut, you already know. You already know the friend that isn't good for you. You're already aware of the red flags being thrown up by that guy. You already know you're tolerating more than you should. You already know because you feel the offness of how you feel in their presence, or you know you have to pretend in order to be where you are. My sister, the one who has basically shunned me and my husband for 5 years over religion, I could be in her life easily. All it would take is for me to live according to her wishes instead of mine. But I'm not willing to do that, and neither should you. No one is worth you living a lie. Here's the truth, and I read this on Alumni's X accounts. Very good. If you are on X, Alumni is a very good account to follow. She said this: the truth is, it doesn't matter how tightly you hold on to certain people, because at the end of the day, what's meant for you will always be yours. Trust me when I say the right people will choose you just as deeply as you choose them. You will not have to beg for the love you deserve. You will not have to quiet the way your heart beats against your chest. One day, you'll be met where you are. One day, you'll be someone's favorite thing, and you'll not be confused. You will not feel like you're fighting for someone who is not fighting for you. One day, you'll understand that it never mattered how hard you held on to the wrong things, how much you tried, because the right things were always unfolding before you. The right things were always choosing to stay. Now, that was beautifully written by Bianca Sparacino. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. Sometimes we need to be forgiven, and sometimes we need to forgive. And sometimes the person we need to forgive is ourselves. Now, I'm not the same person I was when I made the mistakes I made 2, 5, 10, 20 years ago. I've grown with every mistake. Love is who we are at our core, which is why when we don't forgive, it feels so bad. I mean, when we stay mad at someone else or we stay mad at ourselves over a mistake, it feels really bad because at our core, we want to love. But you get to decide who you allow into your inner circle. You're in control of that. Are the people around you making you better? Do they share your values? Do they learn and grow from their mistakes? That matters. The people you choose to have in your life matter. Our relationships are not going to be perfect because we aren't perfect, and neither is anyone else. The problem I see people making is wishing they were perfect, looking at other people's relationships and wishing yours was like that. Don't wish for perfection. Don't wish for what someone else has. Only wish to know yourself so well and love yourself so much and be so true to yourself that anyone who isn't right for you can no longer live in your presence. That's what I wish for you. That's what I wish for all of us, is to be so comfortable in our own skin and so sure of who we are that anyone who wishes us to change in order to fit into their life, there'll be a blip on our radar. They may show up for a minute, but they could never last. My challenge to you today is to forgive who you need to forgive, even if it's yourself, and love yourself enough to listen to that inner guidance that's telling you who's good for you and who's not. You already know, deep down, we always know. Share this with 3 people who make you better. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.